Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I know I haven't been posting for a hot minute. I know. You guys may notice that I have some glasses on and I was supposed to be wearing them like a long time ago. I was supposed to be wearing the glasses even before I started this whole YouTube career. I don't know, exploring type of thing. Yeah, anyway, these past few days I've been reading this book called The Appeal. I don't know if you guys can see it. So I've been reading The Appeal by Janice Hallet, I believe. At first I didn't really like it, but now, you know, I put some thought into it and I was like, I kind of really like this. And you'll see why I didn't like this book at first. You'll see why in a second. So first I'm going to read the synopsis. I don't know if it's going to say, I don't know if it's going to talk about what I've been reading. It says, one murder, 15 suspects, a wholly original puzzle. I don't know. Bear with me. It also says, the Fairway Players, a local theater group, is in the midst of rehearsals when tragedy strikes. The family of director Martin Haywood and his wife, Helen, the play's star. Their young granddaughter has been diagnosed with a rare form of cancer. So that's the part that I've been reading these past few days. With an experimental treatment costing it. You guys, I haven't been reading out loud, so bear with me again. With an experimental treatment costing a tremendous sum, their castmates rally to raise the money to give her a chance at survival. Isn't that sweet? But not everybody is convinced of their experimental treatments nor of the good intentions of those involved. As tension grows within the community, things come to a shocking head at the explosive dress rehearsal. The next day, a dead body is found, and soon an arrest is made. In the run-up to the trial, two young lawyers shift through the material, emails, messages, letters, with the growing suspicion that the killer may be hiding in plain sight. The evidence is all there, between the lines, waiting to be uncovered. Wow. I know this book was about a murder, but I didn't know that it was like emotional at the same time. And this is actually my first time reading the synopsis of the book, so I'm also kind of shook myself. So I started my Notion again, and I've been building it up from this book. And so I want to put like little quotes that I liked, or like little quotes that I annotated, what I like about this book. Basically my whole train of thoughts are in there as of right now, and I hope and wish to continue that because I feel like it's gonna help me in a way to understand what's really going on in this book, and just to like, to not like reread this book in the future. Maybe I'm up for like giving this book away, maybe, or just like any books. No books in particular, just, to be a good person and just, I don't know, I always like to be a good person, so hopefully I am a good person. but it's not well. I'm trying to work on myself, you know, even though that sounds bad. But so right here we have, anyways, so on my Notion I jotted down that I started this book on November 21st, 2023. So the Hero of Janice Hallet, I believe, first stop. Page 10 through 12, Isabella was not happy about not getting like the position she applied for the play. In the emails that was being sent by her to another person, she was like, I even bought myself like a page of a script, you know, like a book script of the play, to like help other characters remember the lines for the play. So I was like, I put on my Notion, Isabella, yeah, that's her name, Isabella. She goes by Izzy in this book, but it's Isabella, as an excuse to rehearse with other, you know, like with other characters from the play. So like the script, so her earning a script is an excuse to rehearse with the other characters because she didn't get the position she applied for a certain character in the play, if that makes sense. So, second thought, I don't really like this book, mostly because of the format that's throughout this whole entire book, which is so like, no. It's like, no, like I don't want it. At first I was like, I don't want to read this book. The whole format throughout the book is basically just emails. Like, for example, right here, I don't know if you guys can see that, but right here it says, from page Reswick, subject drama, date July 4th, 2018 at 3:14 p.m. to Emma Crooks. Another example is them communicating through messages, right? Because like those are like private, and emails are like private as well, but you know, if you get hacked, then you get hacked, and those emails are like public now. So we see Femi, Charlotte, Femi, Charlotte, Femi, Charlotte, Femi, Charlotte, and they're like communicating through text messages and all that stuff. So that's the whole format throughout the book. That's all we see throughout the book, which is so not regular for me to see in a book, because you know, like in books, the only book that I have right here, the only other book that I have right here is the book you're currently standing on. So bear with me, I'm gonna move the camera. Okay, so the book that I'm gonna be showing is The Pharaoh Detective by Jonathan LaFave, right? So we're gonna open this book up, and you know, the usual format we see is like chapter books, you know, like or like certain characters' point of views and stuff like that. Whether if it's in first person, second person, third person, whatever. You know, it's usually like very descriptive for readers, but this one is not. This book isn't really descriptive just because of all the emails that we see throughout the book and all the text messages we see throughout the book. So it doesn't really get into detail, but in a certain email that was being sent, they were like, oh, I'm gonna go to this party and blah blah blah, right? So we know they go to the party. We don't get to see when they're at the party, if that makes sense. So we don't get to see if they picked up, you know, like a Coca-Cola, or if they picked up beer, or what they're doing like on their phone, or like if they're dancing or just standing there or sitting down. You know, we don't get to see an insight on their daily life, if that makes sense. So that was my second thought. And it's also not efficient, you know, because it's not the regular, what's the word? The regular form to communicate to someone, you know, and it's also, it's not efficient. It's not efficient. Especially if you're like standing next to the person and you're communicating through emails with them. If it's text messages, okay, I understand that because it's probably private and you can't really tell them out loud, you know? Or you can't whisper because there's other people around. But, you know, emails, I barely communicate through emails with other people. Something that can be very important is the only way I communicate through email. Okay, so my third thought, this was probably in like 45 maybe pages at least, where I was intrigued, that caused me to binge read like a certain point in the book, a certain part in the book. It was very intriguing. It was also very emotional because that's where we got to know about Poppy's form of cancer. That's very emotional by itself, and I just hate seeing people at their lowest point where they can't do like certain activities, where they can't just live on their own, you know? And Poppy, in Poppy's case, she has to live off, you know, these medications. She has to live off her parents, literally. So yeah, that's very emotional, sad, but like I was very intrigued because like the characters were communicating through, you know, the emails, and they were like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about fundraising like something to help Poppy, you know, to gain money for her medication, for her like important surgery, or it's not really a surgery but treatment, something about treatment, but you know, it's like that costs a lot of money for them. There was like kind of drama going on, but it wasn't bad drama, so that's where intriguing comes to play. So don't get me wrong, I felt bad for Poppy, and that whole scene was heartbreaking, you know, but the most heartbreaking scene is seeing when, so I'm gonna tell you a little backstory. So in the book, Poppy's dad, if I'm not mistaken, sent out an email to let all the characters in the play know about, you know, his absence because he's a director, if I'm not mistaken. The most heartbreaking part of that email, not part, just entire email, was, you know, like seeing their devastation and their sadness behind that email that was being sent to all the cast members. It was so heartbreaking. Yeah, that's really all I read. I'm currently on page 90 I'm on page 90, so I have to read 90 and so forth. And so since I'm on page 90, I still have, let's see, quite a lot of pages to go through. Hold on, let me calculate this really quick to get the exact number of pages that I have left. I have 326 pages left to read of this book. In total, this book has 416 pages, which is a lot for me because, well, not really, because this one was, how many pages? Let's see. Okay, yeah, so this one stopped at 322, so like 320, which is still not a lot. It's there for sure. It's like halfway there to 400 and something. But yeah, so I'm gonna continue to read this book. So this is, I believe this is like my 4th or 5th day reading this. Anyways, that was the end of this day's video, and you know, I'm thinking about going back to uploading on YouTube, which I really miss because, you know, it's easy and it's fun and it makes me happy, you know. I try to help however I can, but as of right now, I'm very, very busy. I'm not using it as an excuse if I decide to not upload videos up anymore. And like a couple weeks ago, I was very, very stressed out because like I didn't go to school for like a whole week because I had COVID. I'm still behind, but it's okay. Yeah, I'm catching up on math, and my grades are really, really, really good. I mean, they're not straight A's or anything, but they're really, really good for me because, you know, like in the past when I was like in middle school, I would get a lot of F's and a lot of D's. I want my grades to get better eventually, and like I'll get there for sure. But I've heard through my case manager from school and in the diploma route to like graduate and stuff. So I'm really glad about that, and I'm really, you know, proud of myself because it's been a long time since, you know, I felt like I achieved something, even though I haven't really achieved anything yet, but I will achieve stuff in the future. So I'm really proud of myself for that, and yeah, hopefully my parents are proud of me too, as I think they are. So I'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. Bye guys.